And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but I don't know about you, but when we watched Hot and Frosty and there was that song at the end about the town, God, we were all singing it at the end when we were done. We're like, damn, that's too catchy. That's too fucking catchy. Too fucking good.
Right?
Just made me think of it because we were just singing, "Where are you? And
Where
like,
are you?"
And now I'm like, oh, that other song got such good times. Such good times. Oh, anyways. Hello, Cinema Peeps.
Hello, Cinema Peeps.
We got lots to chat about today, so we gotta get right into it. No fucking small talk. We just gotta get right into it.
No, Christmas is coming, and we got a lot to talk about. So
we do. We will start off though by saying, I know we start off by reviewing Mr. Christmas, but we have decided to extend our season by one more episode because we want to include the finale plus the movie they're going to be starring in.
Yeah, I was going to say, with our recording schedule, it just wouldn't work out that we'd get the chance to be able to talk to it on time. I talk to you about it on time, so we're going to save it and then,
have another episode because we just think that will be best.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the next episode for the finale of Finding Mr. Christmas and our official final review of it all.
And I guess our finale of the podcast, because that'll be, I think, the last one for the end of 2024.
Yes, this is true.
So hell yeah. Big things, big things.
Woo!
But anyways, let's jump right into it. We still have so much Christmas to talk about.
So much Christmas. I've got my hot chocolate here.
Oh, she ready.
I'm ready.
No, I wish I had hot chocolate. I just have water. I'm trying to make sure I get my good water intake in. Because I was drinking. Oh, just kidding. I mean, I was, but like, what a loser. What a loser am I?
Well, hey, it's your holiday tradition, right? You're watching Hallmark movies, having a few bevies,
right? Ooh, my friend made some malt wine.
Ooh, that
actually wasn't too bad, but to be fair, like when she asked me to taste it, she was like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "I think it tastes good. Like, I don't really know. It still tastes a little winey." Which I guess it's not supposed to. Because, like, you basically just put it on the stovetop and just put a bunch of spices on it.
Right.
So I just kind of assumed more of the spices would come out. But I just kind of tasted warm wine, so.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I thought it was fine, so there you go.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I said we no chit-chat. No more chit-chat. No more chit-chat.
Focus.
But yeah, so today we're finally covering Hot and Frosty because me and my gals have finally watched it as part of our Hallmark Christmas tradition.
Yes.
Of getting drunk. And we're also going to cover Touchdown Love.
Holiday Touchdown.
Holiday
Chief's love
story.
There
we go.
Touchdown Love. I love that.
If you notice the sign, like, I can barely remember half these names anymore because they're just, like, all so similar.
It's all blending together now, yeah.
Right? I'm just like, they're all the... When I was trying to, like, remember character names last night, they're like, Kaylee, what are you doing? Like, I don't remember any of their names, and I'm currently watching the film, okay? But yeah, we're also going to cover Three Wiser Men and a Boy. Very excited. And then a little bit of Christmas Quest. A little bit of Christmas Quest at the end.
Yes.
But all right, do we want to start with Hot and Frosty?
Yes, let's do it.
So you watched it way before me.
I did, and so you'll probably have to do more talking than I will, and it'll jog my memory because I think I've repressed most of it. So.
That's hilarious. I was gonna say, like, it's gonna be rough reference for me,
right?
But yeah, the story is about Kathy. Yes,
you sure?
I'm not gonna lie. I just called her Lacey through the entire movie.
Lacey, yeah, it's Lacey.
I think near like 20 minutes at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, that's Kathy.
Gretchen, it's Gretchen.
Gretchen Wieners.
Gretchen Wieners.
As everyone knows, there's that fun Mean Girls reference in the movie, which I'm not gonna lie, it's not as exciting as it was in the trailer.
Honestly, I almost missed it. I almost didn't register it. Then I'm like, oh, ha, good one, Netflix.
I feel like there were so many props to the people who made the trailer of that movie. They did a phenomenal job because they took all like the little mundane parts of that movie and made it way more exciting. So when we actually got to those scenes, I was like, this is a lot less exciting.
I don't think I saw the trailer, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it truly did. But anyways, Kathy is a widower. She is in her little decrepit house that has all these problems that she just
falling
hasn't
apart.
Gone around to fixing. But she's like, it's just too much work. And I'm like,
which I won't
girl,
lie.
That's fair.
Which I won't lie. When we first started watching it, because she like woke up like fully clothed in like winter gear. I'm like, is she squatting in this house? Like, is she homeless? What's happening here?
She's squatting. That's too funny.
Because I got so confused. I'm like, but she owns the diner. Shouldn't she be like shouldn't she have enough money to like do what she needs to do to the house? But I don't know. I have so many questions.
To be fair, all my friends were also arguing because my one friend, she's always cold. She's like, I don't care. I'm getting someone to come fix my furnace. That's top priority for me.
Yeah.
I don't care how sad I am. And I'm like, that's fine. I think it was just supposed to be like, oh, she's just so sad she can't do anything.
Yeah.
Which, sure, that can happen. But I also just think it was more of a little more for down the road so that the Jack could,
it was a setup for later.
Right.
Yeah, for kind of foreshadowing. But I felt like they, again, maybe I'm putting too high of expectations on this movie, but like I feel like they glossed over that whole like loss of her husband and stuff like that.
That
like,
was
she'd bring
hilarious.
it up every so often, but I'm like, I don't feel the sadness there, like.
Right. Sorry, I know we're skipping around as always, but basically, as if everyone's seen the trailer, she puts the scarf on the 6-pack snowman with, I said had weird ass looking nipples, and I know it's a snow sculpture, but like it had weird ass nipples, okay? And he comes to life, he streaks in town, and then he's just obsessed with Kathy because he remembers her. He's like, you're pretty much my whole world. And she's like, oh, fuck me. And so, like, I definitely agree, because like there's that weird scene where Lacey's like, you have to stay at home because this is really too fucking weird. And he's like, okay. But then he's, of course, watching the most variety of television movies and shit that's on TV right now, because I'm like, he was watching like Nosferatu, and I was like, bro, I don't think that's on during the holiday season, but sure, whatever. He eventually goes to the basement where, again, some really bad Photoshop photos. I was like, okay, whatever. But then has like the medical documents of like how her husband died. I was like, that's also a weird thing to keep and have, but whatever. And then he's making pizzas for her when she comes home, and then he's like, Kathy, what's cancer? And I was like, what?
And
like you said, they kind of just
all over the place.
Like that was like probably the biggest part, and then they just continue just to be like,
Okay. It's like hijinks after that,
right? Very fucking weird.
Weird. This movie was all over the place, and I just have to say, like, my poor boy, like, so the guy who plays Jack, I know him from Supernatural. Big surprise. He was a ghost facer in Supernatural in one of like the earlier seasons. And I believe he was also in what did she say it he was in? Schitt's Creek, I believe he's also in. Yeah, he's more known for that, I guess. And no disrespect to him or anything like that, but I feel like they did him dirty in this movie because he's a nice looking guy, but I don't know, just the style they chose for him in this movie did not, I don't know, like my mom when he first came to life, my mom was like, ugh. She's like, oh my god, what?
I saw him get a haircut in the middle of filming.
Yeah, did he?
No one believed me though. They were like, Kayla, it's just tucked behind his ears. I'm like, no, earlier he definitely had a lot longer of hair. And I think they just tried to like hide the fact that they were tucking behind his ears.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just showered. I don't know. But it was really funny because I will agree. When I saw, I think it was on E-Talk, they were doing like press tour for the movie, and he had like a beard, and I was like, yeah, he looks better with a beard. Right? They should have when they sculpted him
just
like,
a little bit shorter of hair, maybe. I don't know. I was getting very like this version of him that they portrayed him as in the movie is very Tarzan looking. So I don't know if that's what they were going for, but maybe again, as someone who had no idea what society was and like how anything works. Yeah. Netflix is like, yes, that was our intention. That's what we were doing.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
I will say though, the general consensus of everyone watching it, everyone actually really liked it. Everyone was having a great time. And I
didn't know how I felt about it, honestly.
That's fair. I mean, I think when we started being like, because there was that random scene where he's like, I want to go to Hawaii. And she's like, well, if you're truly a snowman, you're going to melt, you dumbass. Yeah. Like, oh, but maybe. But then like for Christmas, she's like, look, 2 tickets to Hawaii. And he's like, wow. Yeah. Sorry, at this point, he's changed back into a person. He's now a person now.
Yeah.
So he can go to Hawaii. And we're all kind of just like, so this man has only been alive for like 2 weeks. You need to passport to go to Hawaii, or at least some form of government ID to go on a plane.
Suspend disbelief, Kaylee. Suspend disbelief.
No, that was too far. Most of the other movie, I was like, I'm enjoying this actually. Like, this is kind of funny. Like the Pretty Woman reference, I enjoyed. Although I very disagree the suit he ended up picking. So I feel like he should have picked the I think when he started to do like the changing sequence, there was like a red velvet suit. And I was like, he should wear that. That looks dope as hell. But they want just a classic black tux. Like, very boring. We also had a lot of cheers for him to take off the scarf because they wanted to see if he would die. So there was a lot of chanting.
Turn back into a snowman if he took.
Yeah, they were like, "What happened? Let's take the fucking scarf off." So majority of the movie was few of them were screaming, "Take off the scarf." So it was a little bit chaotic, but
that's funny.
I don't know. Overall, I really did enjoy it, but yeah, there was just some scenes where I was like,
yeah, just there was some things didn't click into place for me. I feel like I just didn't get fully invested up until the school dance part, and everything after that. It felt really good, like, because I liked that he was, trying to help everybody with the dance, and like, they did that whole little dance sequence and stuff.
Hi, random stranger. Would you like to supervise children?
Yeah.
Don't you need like a background check or like, again, anything to be working around children? But
right. But no, this whole entire town apparently just puts off all their handyman, fixing needs, and then all of a sudden the handyman appears, and they're like, "Hey, you can do these odd jobs for us."
I did. It was very funny with the lady crashing her car and then
that
bringing
was
him to
funny.
like book club, and then they're all like, "We can drive you to the diner," and they're all like in her convertible with like the hood down. I was like, "Oh, that's so funny." I was like, "What a great time." And then the climax of him, Judge Judy, which was also a conversation we kept having throughout the movie. They were like, "Oh yeah, there's Boyle from Brooklyn Nine-Nine," and they're like, "Oh, that guy's from The Office," and I was like, "Oh no, he's also on 9-9." So there's a lot of talk about that. But Judge Judy, he locks Jack up into prison, and he's like, "You need to make $2,000 in bail." Whatever, I don't think so. So Lacey runs to her. Or Catherine runs to her diner, opens a very inconvenient safe, and is like, "All I have is like $700, $800, I don't know." Then they start passing around a charity hat, and then they just barely make I think they were like $10 short. And then like a random plot point is, like you said, he was at the dance helping everybody. He like kind of set up like these two children.
Yeah, he helped the one shy guy work up the nerve to ask a girl to the dance. And it just happened to be that he was the son.
And he's like, "Here's my $10. And he's like, "What? You too, son?" He's like, "He's my friend." And I was just like, okay, sure. Yeah. And then they have to save him. And then they were like pulling out his dead body out of the police station. And I was like, "He didn't die in the police station. He didn't die there. See, he died on the side of the road. What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
And then she gives him a little kissy, and then he wakes up and he's like, "I'm cold." And everyone's like, "Yay!" We were like, "Okay, sure."
Okay. I thought he was going to be a puddle of water.
I know.
Like, that would make more sense.
Disappointment.
Right?
Should have just been his boots in the jail cell or something.
And the scarf, yeah. And then she could have, like, come out and held the scarf and, like, hugged it or did something with it, and then that, like,
or maybe the town could come together and rebuild him.
Yeah. Give him better
Netflix,
nipples. Get your shit together. Come on.
Better haircut, beard. There you go. Just
exactly. Give him a haircut. Give him a little stubble.
Right.
Put that red tux on him.
Definitely a better tux. But yeah, overall, like, maybe I'm crazy, but I had a great time. I was genuinely surprised. I was really expecting maybe a little more cheese. But I think you're right. There were definitely parts that just didn't quite connect.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, suspend disbelief, but the passport thing is really going to irk me. The ending, I was like, we didn't need that.
It's also hard I was going to say, it's hard to suspend disbelief in movies where there's a lot of stuff that just don't, like, connect.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier to do it when you're having a really, really good time throughout the movie and the story's pretty cohesive for the most part. But yeah, anyways.
I was just going to say also, like, we questioned that, but before that, because again, she was like, "Oh, I'm going to get to it," like, Lacey fixing her house and stuff. But then Jack gives her like a book on furnaces with like a sticky note being like, the best gift to yourself is to be you or something. I don't know. I couldn't read it. We were being a little too rowdy at this point. But then she fixes her own furnace system to get the heat on.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all like, I don't think you should be doing that, actually. Like, show her doing anything else, like, fixing up her house or anything else. But I think technically you should leave that to professionals, because I think when you do that, that void your warranty. Again, there was a lot of questions then being asked at that point. We're like, I don't think you should have been messing with that, okay?
Yeah.
There could have been something a little bit different. I don't know why they chose that in particular, but whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, maybe I'll have to rewatch it again, because again, I think maybe part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much was because we were all watching it in a group setting and we were just kind of heckling and like,
it adds to the fun, yeah.
Right? So I'm like, I think you said a couple episodes ago, like the rating of like Hot and Frosty, then Our Secret, and then the Married Gentleman at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Again, I'd be curious to maybe watch Hot and Frosty by myself and see if I still felt the same way. But like, we don't got time. We got so many Hallmark films. Like, maybe next year, baby.
Right?
But for sure, I think that'd be something I would consider watching next year. So,
okay.
There you go.
Cool.
High props.
I would definitely myself put Our Little Secret over Hot Frosty, and because I didn't watch Married Gentleman, I'll take your word for it and leave that last. But
don't watch it.
I just felt the story for sure, as much as we had, our nitpicks about Our Little Secret, I felt it was more cohesive in some areas, and the comedy was more my speed, I think. I had a better time watching that movie than the Hot and Frosty one. I think I spent more time being like, it doesn't make sense. What's happening here?
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. That's fair. And again, that's why like I would be curious if it's like the reason why I'm having it be such a high rating is because we just were having such a good time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
something to consider. But so right after that, we ended up watching the most important Hallmark Christmas movie. What was it? Christmas Throwdown?
Holiday Touch.
Holiday
Christmas
Touchdown.
Throwdown.
Christmas Throwdown. The
Holiday
Christmas and
Touchdown,
the WWE ring.
Woo! Holiday Smackdown.
Holiday Smackdown, bitches. But yes, the Chiefs love story, which obviously is capitalizing on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
Which I thought that's what it was, but it was definitely more on the Chiefs than her, because it had nothing to do with a pop star.
No, but there is a Lifetime one. I wish I could remember the title of it. That's definitely like painfully
accurately.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even in that movie, I'm never going to watch it, so I'm glad one of the YouTubers I watch, he reviewed it, and I just watched it recently.
Okay.
And they have all this like dialogue where they basically like spout out Taylor Swift lyrics and try to pass it off as dialogue. And I'm like,
oh my god.
It's so bad, girl.
Oh no.
Girl, don't watch. I had no plans on watching it, so I'm just glad.
You just witnessed my soul dying a little bit.
I did, yeah. I did. It was intense. It was very intense.
Oh god. I mean, okay, if that's what you want, go watch that movie. The Holiday Touchdown is definitely not anything like that. But we'll get into it. So yeah.
I actually didn't mind it. I didn't think it was too bad.
Me too. I told you it was very vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But it had a lot of good moments. Like, yeah.
I think everyone's consensus was everyone liked the grandpas.
Yes.
I won't lie. The one guy who's Paul. Yeah, his character is Paul. I don't think he's ever acted in his life, but that's okay. I didn't need him to be. Like, what he did was perfect, and I loved it.
Right.
So much. They also really utilized stock footage, which apparently everyone didn't really like, but I was like, listen, might as well. I thought that maybe just because I'm a film nerd, I'm like, you know what? There's stock footage on game. On point. On game. So fucking funny. Just kidding. But yeah, so we get a kind of like a speed run basically of their family, how like their two families had season tickets for the longest time, and then
they ended up sitting together and relationships formed over the years, and it just became their tradition that those were their seats they'd sit in. And then one of the grandpas was given a special Chiefs toque by Santa Claus.
Yes.
And
who I'm gonna say, what a fucking dick. But yes, continue.
Right. Very modern looking Santa Claus too for the time of year that he supposedly first gave him the hat. But anyways, suspend disbelief. So it became a tradition that one of the family members, which started with the grandpa, I believe, wearing the hat during the playoffs, and supposedly that got them, or did it get them to the playoffs?
They would just wear the hat on Christmas Day because it would help them get to the playoffs, but not necessarily win, because they also were like, we have to leave something for the Chiefs to do.
Yes,
I'm like, that's very generous of you. Very generous of you to say.
Right? With great power comes great responsibility.
Right. Bunch of hams. And so now their granddaughter, who, again, was her name
Hunter
Lana?
King. Alana, yes.
I kept forgetting her name. I was like, Ashley? They're like, Caitlin, what is... I'm like,
I actually
had to care.
I had to laugh because halfway through the movie, it clicked to me that her name was Alana, and what's-his-face character's name was Derek. And I'm like, wait, I know an Alana and Derek. That's so funny. Anyways, yeah.
That's funny. Also, that man only plays characters with the name Taylor in it, because his name's Taylor, which is bonkers to me.
Right?
But anyways, Derek Taylor, he is part of the Chiefs fan appreciation committee or something. I don't know. He works for the Chiefs in terms of like fan engagement. There we go. And basically they're like, we're looking for the best Chiefs fans, basically, and give them an award. And so Alana submitted her family and their story. There's also a cat that we wanted to win, because I mean it's a cat, and the other one's just a light up Christmas house. I don't know why that guy thought he was winning. What a loser.
Hunter King, or Alana, her family, they own Chiefs store, which is full of like memorabilia, merchandise.
Right. Question though, are they actually legally allowed to do that?
Yeah.
That was something that dawned on me at the very beginning. I was like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. I don't think, unless they're paying a huge licensing fee, but typically they want to keep their product within.
Well, considering, like, again, the way they were making this sound is like where they live is a very small town area, or at least that's how it was portrayed. But it's within Kansas City, I believe. And I'm assuming that the intention, again, they didn't really highlight on that, but my guess was that everything that they sold was more homemade. Like,
I didn't get that vibe at all. I thought they actually
not homemade, but you know how some creators will make, like, they'll make their own versions of stuff.
Like an expo,
yeah.
But a lot of them looks. I mean, maybe it's just because they needed props. They all look suspiciously like not real, that.
Yeah.
So I was like,
real merchandise.
Right. I was like, legally, I don't think you can do that, but sure, whatever.
They have this store, and in the back they have like a little like fan cave where they can like watch the game and stuff too. And so before you're introduced to Derek and what he does and stuff like that, but before any of that stuff happens, he ends up like going, what was the reason he went into town anyway? Was it to check them out, or he just...
No, he had said something like how he hadn't had any like Kansas City barbecue, and they were all like,
oh yeah, right.
So they sent him to Mima Nona's barbecue place, which is owned by the other set of grandparents
of Lana's family. Yeah.
And so he goes to eat, and of course they are like, we're going to set up our daughter with this stranger who just walked into a store.
The meddling grandmothers and mother.
I mean, I did enjoy it. It was very funny, but
yes.
It's just kind of like, this is wild. It was also around the same time we got to meet Donna
Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey's mom.
Like, what a treat. What a good job. But everyone was booing, and I was like, let's get the fuck over ourselves, people.
I thought she did great.
I did too.
I was
the
impressed
guys
with
were
her.
just booing because they were like, why the Kansas City Chiefs? I'm like, how fucking dumb are you guys? So they were just booing because they're like, we hate Kansas City. They're like, oh, boo Travis Kelsey, boo his mom. And I was like, everyone just calm your fucking tits, all right? Like, shut up. I didn't have a good counter. I was just like, shut up. I don't care what you have to say. Shut up. Shut up.
Unless you officially watch NFL, you have nothing to say.
I was like, whatever. It's a Hallmark film. The lowest fucking stakes. Like, just get over yourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so sorry. That's how he comes into town.
Yes, okay.
And then kind of inadvertently, because of meddling, kind of like hangs out with the family. He learns about the story about the hat, and then he's like, I don't really believe in superstition. They're all like,
you can leave now, bye.
yeah, what? That was awkward as fuck. I was like,
yeah,
woof, okay.
They were like, get out of here. But they did show that like there was a little bit of a spark between Derek and Alana. So yeah.
And then he has to come back a couple days later, because I think they said they were meeting the guy who they thought they were meeting the guy who's Derek's part on Tuesday, when I think he hung out with them on a Saturday or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple days later, nervously waiting around for the fan engagement guy to show up, and Derek shows up, and they're like, what are you doing here? And he's like, well, and they're like, oh.
So now they're doing everything in their power to impress him, except for Lana. She's like, fuck you. And they're all like, whose team are you on, Alana? Like, we still want to win. Yeah. Like, come on, girl.
Do it for the family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, I don't know, stuff happens. They start falling in love. They kissed way too early. They kissed like 3 times in that movie. I was like, is this a porno? Like, what is this? Like, huh?
They passed their Hallmark limit.
Right? I was like, you get
they
one.
Were like, we'll give you one extra one because of the Chiefs.
Yeah. Because the Chiefs are sponsoring. You can get another kiss. And of course, they show off players and the coach. And I'm like, who are any of these people? I'm like, whatever.
Yep.
But then, so then things are going well. They end up winning the fan of the year. So everyone's like excited. They're like, woo. Which, of course, we were all saying, I think that's a conflict of interest at this point. Because basically in the photo, they were basically eye-fucking each other. So we're like, I think this is a conflict of interest at this point.
Right.
But they do a toy drive at the stadium. And
Alana thinks it's a good idea to bring the hat to
Derek
show everybody.
Derek asks.
Derek asks. Yeah.
And she's like, yeah. And people are like, can I wear it? They're like, ooh, no, sorry, you can't.
Although my other question was, I know that they had it in like a glass case in their shop. Why didn't they bring the glass case? Like she had it just out in the open.
It's too heavy.
I guess, but like, come on, like it would have saved all that conflict.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really care for that weird thing at the end. Santa also wanted to try it on, but then he was like, psych. And then the hat goes missing. She has like a panic attack. And then Derek's like, don't worry, we could fix that. Because he was ended up gifted from, I think, one of her grandma, a knitted version of the hat, which basically looked like a replica. Yeah. It was just a straight replica, but whatever. So then he's like, we could use this. And she's like, no, you can't fucking do that. And then there was like other stuff about fate and blah, blah, blah. And I was just, at that point, I was losing a little steam. I was like, all right, can we just get this part? And then they do a big old announcement at the game where she's like, the hat's not the magic, it's ours. No. And I was like, oh boy.
Yep.
You know? But then Derek's like, surprise, we somehow manufactured this unique hat and put it under all the Chiefs' chairs, and now everyone's wearing a version of the hat.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also like, that takes like a lot of time, so the quality of that is probably shit. But then it turns out Santa had the hat the whole time. He was like, ooh, you dropped this.
That lion-stealing son of a bitch.
We were all screaming. We were like, Santa, why?
Yeah.
Like, maybe this is Krampus. Because like I was also like, why do that? Was it just for her to have a mental breakdown? Like,
I guess it was to teach her that the magic was in her all along, and not to put importance on material items.
But we still do
the spirit of Christmas,
because we buy every year.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I can't gauge. I think most people just like the grandpas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everyone liked it as much. I actually was surprised how much I actually enjoyed it. I will say the main character, Alana, my only gripe is sometimes she would, minus the time the hat goes missing, she would make, what's that expression? She would make a mountain out of an anthill.
Yeah.
Because there was this random scene where her and mom are having lunch. And the mom was like, oh, I did some Christmas shopping. I bought these journals so that grandma and grandpa can write down their memories.
Yeah.
You know, so they could pass it on. I was like, what a cute gift. And she does this weird 180 thing where she's like, because you don't think I'm going to live up to the legacy? I'm like,
Yeah.
And then goes on this weird tangent. And she's like, you don't think I could run the store? And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I was like, girl, she just got a Christmas gift. I was like, what did you... Like, I liked that her character's main motivation was family and, like, not only, like, preserving the legacy, but, like, honoring her grandparents by giving them this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought was super sweet. But, yeah. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
There's a couple times like that she would just make, a mountain of an anthill, and I was like, what is happening? What are you doing? Yeah, I don't know. Anything else to say, I guess? I got it.
No, like, I thought it was sweet, too. Like I said, like I told you before, it's very vanilla.
Mhm.
So, nothing, super crazy, groundbreaking or anything like that. But it was a sweet story for trying to incorporate and, tell a story that, trying to tell a story that incorporates the Chiefs somehow, but also, like, keeping it tied to, like, family and Christmas and add the little sprinkle of Hallmark touch in there. Like, I thought they did a pretty decent job.
I agree. After having a touchdown for love, we moved on to Three Wise Men and a Baby, which also stars Taylor.
Yes.
And what character is he playing?
Tyler Hines or whatever.
He's playing Taylor. So
Taylor,
really,
yeah.
the man only has one thing on his contract, and he's like, I need to be named Taylor. And that's it. And that is it.
So, did you rewatch the first one before you watched the second one? Or
No, and we probably should have, but like, I'm surprised I remembered as much as I did.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I mean, it was easy to like follow along. Like they really didn't.
Yeah.
There wasn't a whole lot of needing to remember a lot from the first one to really enjoy the second one. Just the dance. Yeah.
Just the dance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was getting pretty tired at this point. I'm not gonna lie. In the evening when we were watching this one, I was really warm too. I was like, God, there's too many people in this house. It's too warm. I don't remember what people's general consensus was on this one. Yeah, I don't really remember. I remember having a good time though. Like, I think I kind of agree with you, like, with kind of like the Chiefs one. Like, I felt this one was pretty vanilla for the most part.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is fine. I'm not expecting greatness from Hallmark at this point.
Because, I mean, the first one was kind of a little more on the vanilla side, but the hijinks of, like, the three guys trying to figure out how to take care of this baby on their own was very funny. And then throwing in the mix of, like, having them all rekindle their relationship as brothers and, like, doing that iconic dance at the end. And so this is kind of like where they are 5 years later.
Mm-hmm. Apparently in a coffee shop pretending you're in an office space.
Yeah, so basically the firefighter Luke, he ended up marrying Sophie, who was the lady who had dropped the baby off in the first place.
She was, yeah. Okay, we all couldn't remember. We're all like, that must be what happened.
So I ended up watching the first one before I watched the second one. Like I did a back-to-back kind of thing.
Cool.
And so so at the end of the first movie, just to like refresh you and everything else, like she comes back at the end to retrieve Thomas. And they all ask her, why did you leave him in Luke's care? Like, because the note that was left with the baby had his name on it specifically. So he was like, and that was kind of the running joke in the first one was like, oh, you've got a baby. Oh, are you sure it's not yours? And so he was like, why did you pick me? And she was like, well, you were the first firefighter on the scene when I called and you were there with me the whole time. And he went, oh, so like he had said like he had thought about that day 1,000 times over, but he just didn't put the two together until he saw her. And so I guess that kind of like sparked a little thing between them. And he decided that he was going to, because he loved Thomas so much, he was going to become his stepdad or his adoptive dad, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We kind of figured, we're like, that's gotta be what happened, but like none of us could remember. We're like, oopsie.
Yeah.
Oopsie poopsie.
But yeah, so that's what happens to him. And oh my gosh, the kid who plays like older Thomas in the second one is so cute. Like he was so cute.
And Christmas was saved.
Yeah, he was just so cute.
He's like, I got this line, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You guys focus on your shit. I got my lines.
I got mine. Yeah.
Pretty straightforward.
Shining star right here. Shining star.
Shining star. But yeah, this time around, the hijinks is that they kind of ruin Thomas's Christmas production.
Yes.
Tyler Hines' character brings peanut peanut butter cookies that have peanuts, so some of the kids have allergic reactions to it. And then
a side note, that girl, when they cut to her like belting out that song, I was like, Jesus, oh my god.
That was a little intense. I was like, oh,
that was,
okay.
Yeah.
And then Stefan like hits a bunch of things and like destroys a bunch of the costumes and the set, and then the teacher's just like, I quit.
Mm-hmm.
So that I did enjoy that scene with him in the principal's office. So I was like, this is really funny.
Yeah.
And now on top of this, their mom's dating a guy who I also couldn't remember his name. I kept calling him like Ruben. That's not his name.
Pastor. What was his name?
Pastor. It wasn't Paul. It wasn't Ruben. I'll tell you
Pete?
that.
No.
I don't remember.
Jim? Pastor Jim? I don't know.
I'm gonna call him Pastor Ruben. I know that's not his name, but I'm gonna go with it.
Okay.
So that's the name I apparently remember. That's not his name. He's dating their mom, and they don't like it. They don't like it one bit.
Yep.
So there's lots of weird, like, tension between them all.
A lot of alpha dog, like,
yeah,
this man's coming into our home, blah blah blah.
I think some of them are like, he might be okay, but the firefighter is like, nah.
Yeah, he's a little suspicious of him.
He's like, he's not good enough.
What are your intentions with my mother?
Right. They're like, well, we'll follow the big dog. We'll follow whatever the big dog says.
Yeah.
Big dog says. So yeah, they have to work together to help Thomas's Christmas production. They're short-staffed. Taylor hits on the music teacher, who it took me a while to figure out. I was like, I think she was in Supernatural too, and she was, but I think she's best known for being Erica I think it was called Erica or Being Erica or something, and she was the title character.
Oh yeah,
Erica.
yeah, right.
And they all joke. They're like, "Oh, she's the female version of you."
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, even when they got together, we're like, "Is that narcissist behavior?"
Right.
So I think he was the only one where his love interest didn't come back in the sequel. Because I think he had someone at the video game developer company that he was into.
Well, they had history. They had dated before, and they worked together. And his brothers kept trying to say, like, why don't you consider like trying to patch things up, because you guys were good together. And the way I interpreted it was his ego kind of kept getting in the way, and he was like, nah, like, she's done with me, and I'm better. I'm onto bigger and better things. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So, and he ended up having to like come to her with his tail between his legs when she was able to help them with that light display and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But I think Stefan's girlfriend is back in this one. 5 years. I don't know why I shouldn't have laughed as hard as I did, but that scene in the park where he's like, "Oh, I just want to give you flowers, just treat you, and then he like bends over to tie his shoe, and she's like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
It was so perfect. I was like,
she's like,
well,
why else would anybody get down on one knee after they give their girlfriend flowers?
He's like, I gotta tie my shoes.
Yeah.
And they have an improv, and then later in the movie, he actually proposes to her using his brother's ring. Very, very odd. Very odd.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, now that I'm talking about it, there's a lot of great scenes in it, but yeah, overall, like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. They did the dance twice, so really,
right?
I'm sold.
They tried to teach it to the kids too, which I thought was cute.
I
love that they did it with Thomas at the end. That was the sweetest thing. But I would say, like, considering this was a sequel to a Hallmark movie, like, I thought they nailed it. Like, they did a really good job.
There was that weird thing at the end with Kimberly. Because I guess she was the drama teacher who was away. I don't know. Because I couldn't remember if she was in the second or the first movie or not. And she makes that weird line about, like, because, like, sometimes the sequels just ain't as good. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay. Which also was weird coming from her because she was in a sequel to a Christmas film. So I was like, is Hallmark really that smart to add layers? Like, what? That was weird, but they also never really answered who caused the small fire. Sorry, we're jumping over the place. At one point near the climax of the film, they enlist the help of the crazy lights man, which I'm surprised I remember that.
Mark McClark or whatever his name was,
And so he like overdoes it. He adds like 500 inflatable balloons, and I'm like, they're cool and all, but like maybe have like one or two, because most of these are taller than the children.
Yeah, I like. Was it the pastor who was like, it looks like a inflatable warehouse sale going on here?
I think someone also called it Christmas meets Vegas.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of Mark's overabundance of doing stuff, there's a small electrical fire, and they said it was caused by one of the costumes, but they never really clarify what happened.
Well, actually, I don't think it was necessarily his balloons because Pastor Jim was doing some sort of like torching
Yeah.
with something, and I think they were saying that it had to do with that, and that's why they pinned it on him was because he was using the torch.
Right.
They were trying to blame it on him that he was like sabotaging everything because he was doing that. And they were like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, there was like an incident with a torch and the electrical."
I think they just
stuff
said
and-
though, like it was just an overheated electrical panel and there was a costume near it, but then we were all like, well, how did that happen?
Mm.
And my guess was when Stefan's girlfriend hammed a bunch of the new costumes, he kind of just shoved it on the rack and tried to push it as far back as he could. So
Yeah.
I assumed that like maybe him doing that because again, there was just too much stuff. They were losing the quote unquote spirit of Christmas, but also it was only a K-5 production. I don't know why they're going this hard. I think when he shoved the costumes in, he must have hit the electrical panel. But
Okay.
again, is that really important? Probably not. But like my brain, we needed answers. We needed answers in this little noggin of mine. We needed them answers. But yeah, overall, it was a great time again.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think it was any better or worse than the sequel, so it was just right, you know? Just right. It's just right.
Yep. It was very cute. I had a smile on my face the whole time, and I thought they did a good job. Like I said, considering it was a sequel, I thought they nailed it. And also the fact that we didn't not that this really mattered much, but the fact that we were like, no, we're not gonna read the synopsis, we're just gonna watch it anyway. Like I'm kind of glad that we didn't read the synopsis because it was even more of a surprise.
Right? It was a good time. It was a good, genuine time. But yeah, we would like, so yeah, that was all the Hallmark films we managed to watch at our little traditional Hallmark party. But we wanted to do one little quick chat maybe about Christmas Quest.
Hell yeah.
But which is, yeah, I think the writer just watched National Treasure for the first time and was like, let's do that, but with Christmas. Or maybe Lacey watched it. I don't know. And she was like, I want to do this with Christmas.
Right? I feel like the writers, it'd be so interesting to like sit in on their like brainstorming sessions to figure out like how they come up with some of these. And like, because they probably, like, I don't know, I felt like I know that we said last year they really like went more worldly with the Hallmark films because there was one in like Iceland or Sweden or something like that, and there was one in Scotland and one in Ireland. Like they really were going all over the map with like all these stories, and so instead of just doing like worldly ones this time, I think they kind of took it even further and was like, let's see what other kind of like fun hijinks we can add besides doing the whole classic small town Christmas kind of thing. So yeah.
And I think you had said this before to me, but we didn't. I wasn't on episode. I think we were just chatting. How like the intro, like how well the intro was. I was like, bam! Like like you see the traditional, and then like it zooms in on the crown, and then it's like right into like, you know, like a national treasure. Like there's this girl hunting for treasure, and we're like, what? That's crazy,
right?
So definitely props for the opening. Also props for when they were talking about the 12 gnome people.
That was a good setup.
I liked that. I knew right away. I was like, well, we're not gonna get all 13 clues. We'll get the first maybe and the last one. They're gonna do a montage, which they did. But maybe just because when we watched our little secrets and there was that terrible animation at the beginning that made zero sense. Yeah. Like this one was just worlds better. I was like, really, hands down. Put some stuff behind it. And I mean, they definitely, I'm pretty sure they actually filmed a lot of it in Iceland and it looked gorgeous. So like, again, no complaints there. But yeah, I think the romance between the leads, I mean, it was there, but it was just there. Very vanilla. But like, it was like, whatever, who cares? It was like, you know, just like National Treasure. The romance is definitely not the highlight of that movie. It's the adventure.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and that's all they delivered on. And I was like, yeah, you nailed it.
Right?
I will say the ending to me was really funny because it did just feel like, again, they just were like, National Treasure. And they took, because there was like some lines, I'm like, that's exactly from National Treasure. I think you guys just like forgot to like fucking, you know, fix your work. Fix your edit. Because they were just like, is this the treasure room? No, there has to be another room. And I'm like, bro, no. And of course you find out that real treasure is family, friends, and blah,
And the
blah,
spirits of
blah, blah,
Christmas.
blah, blah, blah. Because Lacey finds this lock. I don't even know. What was her name in this one? I just referred to her as Lacey the entire
Oh gosh, I
time.
can't even remember. I know,
I
like
don't
she's
know.
Lacey, yeah.
Yep, she's Lacey. Anyway, she finds this compass that she gifted her mom like many Christmases ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because it turns out when her mom definitely found the treasure, but was like, hey, the treasure is us, our relationship, family, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So then Lacey in turn leaves the book. And as they leave, there's little laughs and like little magical creatures. And yeah. And
Which,
the movie ends.
I won't lie, when they did that whole bit where like the door slammed and you can hear like the laughing of the I was like, that's horrifying. I would be running out of there so fast.
Stranger danger, start running.
Yeah.
Start running for the hills.
Right?
But yeah, like I said, there's not a lot to talk about, Christmas Quest other than it's copy paste of National Treasure, but like, that's fine.
I was gonna say I feel like we could probably do a quick talk like comparing it to the Christmas Charade because they're kind of similar avenues. Like I don't know, I felt like I mean they're different but similar in the fact that like there's a lot of adventure and action and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And personally, although I loved both movies, I thought like the fact that they added like they kept the whole spirit of National Treasure in this one with like they had the puzzles for them to solve. Like they obviously weren't like super complex.
Yeah.
But it was nice that they like had they were creative enough to show like different puzzles for them to do, and I liked that whole like bit at the party where they had to like pose as different people and try to like get the information and like the clues that they needed. And they had that cute little scene where, they had to think fast and ended up like, sharing
making
a kiss.
out.
Yeah, making out in the closet to avert from the security guard and stuff. And yeah, I thought it was really well done. It was very cute.
Yeah. Again, did they just command, copy, and paste from National Treasure? Absolutely. Or Control Alt Delete, whatever you want to do, whatever computer you're using. But like, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't mad. I had a great time.
Yeah.
That's all. And honestly, that's kind of the bar. You just have a great time and
exactly.
That's it.
Right?
And yeah, I think that'll do it for today.
Yes.
Oh boy. Big yawns. Thanks for
It's been a late night for both of us, so
yeah, we party hard.
Partying hard, yep.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, as we said at the top, we will probably conclude this year with Finding Mr. Christmas, the finale, and the new movie. So be on the lookout for that. That'll be next week. And yeah, thanks for tuning in for another wonderful podcast. We love that you guys are enjoying, these series, and we hope to do more in the new year. But yeah, for now, leave us a little comment down below if you've watched any or any others. We are still planning to do a tier list, but I think will be in part of the new year just because we want to watch as many as we can.
Yeah. So
we kind of figured instead of, condensing our time, we could just enjoy more films,
Exactly.
And just have a great time. So let us know in the comments down below what you've been watching. Consider leaving this video a little thumbs uppy, and consider subscribing to two pretty cool gals, in my opinion, with awesome Christmas sweaters. We didn't even comment how cool our sweaters are. Kendra's is way better than mine. Look at that. So fucking beautiful. So fucking beautiful. But anyways, guys, watch all the content and we'll see you next time.
And enjoy your holiday season as well.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ooh.
Monkey.